Welcome back to the Old Hollywood Briar Christmas Special. In June of 1940, Smokers Haven was opened by its founder Joe Zeev, his wife Ina, and his brother-in-law Sid Ritter. Joe and Sid were pioneers in the retail market of pipes and tobaccos and established a real specialty tobacco shop. From 1940 until the late 1970s, Smokers Haven was one of the largest and most distinguished pipe and tobacco shops in the world, with an inventory of over 10,000 English pipes and a range of some of the best pipe tobacco blends. Joe and Sid would take frequent trips to England to develop new tobacco blends and new shapes for GBD pipes so they could offer unique and quality products for their customer base, which numbered over 60,000. In the late 1970s and early 1980s, the pipe market started to dwindle, and many of the pipe and tobacco suppliers discontinued their products. In 1983, Joe Zeev retired and sold Smokers Haven. The second owner did not adapt to the market, and Smokers Haven almost disappeared. In 1987, Arvind Cheda purchased Smokers Haven and rescued it from demise. Throughout the late 1980s and 1990s, cigars were the primary focus for Smokers Haven. In 1999, the torch was passed to Premal Cheda. And I've got to say, having dealt with Premal myself, he's a very generous human being. And you can read some stuff on his blogs. It appears he's making pipes and showing kids how to make pipes and stuff too. Seems like a great guy. Now, many are familiar with the tale of Smokers Haven's blends being simply retinned versions of the Balkan Sobrani White. They're aptly named our best blend, being plainly the Balkan Sobrani under a different moniker, while Cognac was Sobrani White with a cognac blender, and Crumble Cake being pressed Sobrani White. Crumble Cake was developed by Zeev. He wished to be able to carry a week's worth of his tobacco in his pocket in a small tin that didn't bulge his pocket, with pressed cakes that could be rubbed out straight into the bowl with one hand. The wild success of the Crumble Cake mixture inspired the House of Sobrani to create the Bengal Slices, another recently resurrected and legendary blend. It also inspired the creation of Penzance, which is indeed an attempted match blend to Smokers Haven's Crumble Cake. FYI, if you ever see a tin of Smokers Haven Crumble Cake, realize that it's worth a lot more than Penzance. The tins are impossibly rare to find. I'm in frequent contact with Premal, and he's living on the prayer that he might get some Crumble Cake next year, maybe, and he's been in that situation for a couple of years. Now, the 20th anniversary mixture here, said to be Sobrani with an ale binder, has more of the distinctive green olive oriental on the front end, and the ale binder does add a bit of that famous dry soda type flavor on the tongue. It's much less sweet than Stonehaven. Some believe that Stonehaven was a match to this blend, Smokers Haven 20th anniversary, but Premal denies that. Stonehaven is much more of a dark, even the Balkan Sobrani itself has much more of that dark richness, whereas the 20th anniversary it's got a lot of that depth, but less Latakia, more oriental forward, and has that ale dry soda pop on the tongue, which is actually very nice. Very similar to like a Durbar, Dunhill's Durbar, which was widely viewed to be the best Balkan on the market after Balkan Sobrani kind of left. You can see it's a real fine shag cut. It's actually two different cuts. The Latakia and the Virginia seems to be a little bit wider with that, whatever that ale binder is, maybe on a Turkish ribbon or something that's in there, or some kind of Izmir. I don't even know, but it's a real sour oriental. So when you smoke this, you get that nice woodiness, but the first quarter of the bowl is going to give you that real oriental forward flavor, which is the classic Balkan, but it doesn't have the Latakia to balance that, give you that creaminess that the Balkan Sobrani and Penzance are kind of famous for. Now, as we look in here closely, you can also see some dark pressed flakes in there, and those are probably, pressed Virginia, maybe Black Cavendish. Pipestead did mention he really likes this blend. He mentioned that he kind of tasted a little back end Lakeland on there. Maybe that's what the from just the steam pressing of the tobaccos that they use there. I'm going to lay this out in our DLD Pazé bronze to dry out by the fire because it definitely needs time to air out. It's very wet when it comes. We'll grab some leather and let that fire just sit there and dry it out a bit. This is Bailey. Got her as a puppy with her brother Bear. It's a Blockhead Labs. Just amazing dogs. Love water, will fetch anything. That's a nice setup there. Gonna have a little bit of coffee with our pipe tonight.
The first Noel, the angel did say, was to certain poor shepherds in fields as they lay.
Now remember, as you're loading this pipe, there's a lot of shag in there, so once you light shag, it collapses a lot. So people say you gotta tamp this, carefully, and you don't want to put too much in there. I try to pack as much in there as possible, without, obviously overpacking the bowl. So I just go down just a little bit tighter than I normally would, because as soon as you light that up, it's gonna collapse about down to half the bowl. We're going to be lighting up the ultra rare Regate Sassini Family Era 4-Dot Bulldog rusticated. It's really rare to see a bulldog in the rusticated line. You see a lot of the rusticated pipes, not a ton of them, but you'll see one of them online usually at a time on the bidding sites. But a shape like this, I've been watching a couple of years. They just don't come up very often. They're very, very hard to find. So if you see one, you want to snatch it up right away. Let's light this thing up. Upon first breath, the green olive of the Orientals declare this blend to be definitively a Balkan. The Virginias are a background player to the Orientals and Turkish Ribbon. The Latakias getting to second base, calming the Orientals, but not overly creaming out the blend like Penzance. I would say that this blend would be amazing with a bit of 10-age on it as well, once the Orientals have mellowed down a bit. Halfway through the bowl, the pepperiness of the Orientals begin to fade, and the earthiness of the Virginias meld into the toasted caramel flavor that goes great with coffee. And this is where the Orientals really shine. This mid-bowl position where the Virginias spread their wings and the Latakia balances them both out together. I enjoy this blend in the morning. It's kind of on the edge of like a Squadron Leader or a Durbar, very similar to both of those blends. I'm anxious to compare it to our best blend. However, on my way up here, I seem to have lost my tin of our best blend on the way. I think I might have actually been in my bag when I was in the desert and kind of rolled out while I was setting things up. But I do have 4 other tins of Smoker Haven's blends that I am going to be going through. This one was really good, a little bit more sour than most people are going to be used to, so unless you're a real Balkan pro, I wouldn't start on this one, but it definitely is a very nice, tasty, what most people are rating like a 3-star, 3 out of 4-star blend. Well, thanks for watching, Old Hollywood Briar. I hope you enjoyed this review of Smoker's Haven's first blend, the 20th anniversary mixture. Don't forget to hit the big 3, the thumbs up, the subscribe, and that little notification bell so you get notified every time we drop a new video. We'll be going through the rest of the Smoker's Haven's blend, hopefully, day by day as Christmas gets closer. Merry Christmas, my friends.
That's
We're
fun.
good for the environment.
Production gets to save because we did share a hotel room
We run
and a
lines.
dressing room.
And you know, we had some graphic scenes with each other, and it's like kind of trusting if you're there with your spouse.
Yeah, it's fun.
Well, I hear that both of you actually are huge shoulder fans. I had no
Yeah.
idea.
Always have been.
I honestly, I'm not as much as my wife is.
No.
My wife is a huge fan.
Are you the type that will actually close your eyes if she decides to go ahead and watch something?
I get more scared than my
No,
wife.
you do not. Do you really?
And when we saw that movie, I wasn't like all over you. Like freaking out. Like, I can't handle this. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
And that lady calls on the scene.
Oh.
I was like freaking out. I was like, I can't handle this. I have anxiety issues. I can't deal.